is Pius Kadon, and I want to welcome you to the News Chronicle political clinic as usual. Today being Monday. Today we're going to be talking about something that has been in the news last week, and I'm talking about the creation of additional states. The House Committee, that is the lower chamber, talking about the House of Representatives, last week Thursday in one of their plenaries talked about creating additional 31 states to the 36 we already have, which is, by virtue of that, move the number of states we have in the country to 67, if that actually scale through. So to join us on this conversation, we have Mr. Enabs Joshua, who, will be shedding more light on this and then giving us his thoughts on this particular issue. Mr. Joshua, can you introduce yourself from that end?
Yeah, thank you very much. Like you said, my name is Enabs Joshua. I am the founder and the convener of the 50 Million Patriots. Let me appreciate you. Let me start by appreciating you for having me in your show. When you see policymakers, when you see policy shapers, like in this case, the 10th Assembly, trying to make a policy that is as large and big as this, you know that it's not just black and white. All right?
All right.
It's not just black and white. For in governance or in every government, there are different demands coming from different groups, and there are hundreds, different groups, different lobbying groups, different organizations, different states, different sponsors of the government of the day, trying to implement their wish, their desires, their aspirations in that same government. So when you see a bill like this, know that it did not come from a vacuum, neither did it fall from heaven, neither did it come from hell, but it's coming from different pressure groups.
Although, Mr. Joshua, I can see that you are all fired up. I was going to, throw a particular question that would serve as an ice, a way of breaking the ice for us, but it seems you are all fired up already.
No, but it's fine. You can ask a question before I continue my fired up.
Yeah, so the House of Representatives Committee on the Review of the 1999 Constitution, put forth a proposal last Thursday, like I just said earlier. Yeah. And then the proposal was that there are entries for, the creation of additional 31 states. And by virtue of that, if that happens, it means the state in Nigeria is going to move from 36 to 67. And then the last we had this kind of major restructuring in the country was in 1996, where the number of states moved from 30 to 36. Do you see any implication in the creation of additional states, looking at the let me say the strained resources we have as a country, and then the state of the economy at the moment? Do you see any implication?
Okay. Yeah, there are so many implications. I think I was already in line to answer this question before you asked. Like I was saying, I'll have to bring in an introduction before I answer your question. Is that okay?
Yeah. You can go ahead.
Yeah. So as I was saying, there are different interest groups, different pressure groups. All right. Even the foreign communities, they have different interests in making such a magnanimous policy as to creating 31 more states to the additional 36 that we have. So it tells you that this kind of policy shift does not come from a vacuum. It means there are people who want this to happen. And then it is normal in politics, yeah? But it is also the prerogative. It is also the discretionary powers.
Mr. Joshua, when you say it is normal,
elected.
When you say this is normal in politics, are you trying to say there is some sort of politicking in the creation of additional new states, the proposal that is? Do you see some sort of politicking in that?
It is all about politics, my brother. it is all about politics. Whatever you see out there has interest in it. And what is politics? Politics is all about interest.
But some people will tell you that there has been agitation of imbalance when it comes to, some regions, and then they need to create.
Yes, I said there have been demands from different groups, different states, different organizations to create more states. It shows that there are interests, and when there is interest, there is politics. Do you understand?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, so it is the prerogative, it is the discretionary powers of those we have elected, because in the true sense of the word, we tend to elect those who are best among us. We tend to believe that the best among the rest are those who are in leadership. So it is the prerogative of those in leadership to now determine whether, if these demands from different groups is worth implementing at such a time as this. So I have said two things. One, that there are different groups demanding for such policies to be changed or to be improved on. And then two, it is the prerogative of our leaders that we've elected, because we assume they are the best among us, to determine, in economics, it's called the scale of preference, to determine if this policy is what Nigeria needs at this particular point in time. It's what will benefit the average man. It's what will determine whether our GDP will increase. It's what will determine whether our economic value will increase. It's what will determine whether the life of an ordinary man will be better. So that is the two things I will give you from that introduction. So back to your question, is there any form of politics? It's all about politics. It's all about politics. There are different interests involved. There are people from Kadon South advocating for states. There are people from Anambra advocating for more states. Even in Edo State, there are people there. Even in the Middle Belt, there are people there. People pushing pressure.
I mean, all the geopolitical zones are agitating for more states. If you look at the breakdown, yes, from the proposal, you'll notice that I think the only region that is actually proposing for lesser state is the South, where the proposal seek to we're having like 4 states there. But if you look at states like the Northwest, and state like the Northeast, states like regions like so would you say there is a particular region whose agitation can be justified, where you say, okay, for this particular region, I think they really need this kind of balance. They really need this kind of representation. Like they need additional state, regardless of whether it's going to strain federal resources also, but then they need this to balance off. A case in point is, if you look at Southeast, will you say theirs is actually justified? Looking at the fact that they are short of one state.
You say, like I said before. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, like I said before, it is never black and white. I have been too long in this game to know that it is not black and white. Yes, the Southeast has been agitating for an additional state because they fear that they lag behind. All right. It will be fair. It will be fair if they have 6. I think right now they have 5: Anambra, Imo, Enugu, yes, Ebonyi, and then have 6. Yeah. Some will have
other regions. 8. Yes, actually.
Yes, other regions. So it will be fair. It will be fair if they have their own in the Southeast. With additional states in the Southeast, stop the wanton killing in the Southeast. With additional states in the Southeast, increase the GDP of the Southeast.
Most of them will tell you that they need that balance. That balance has to be created. Right.
Listen. I am a Christian, yeah? And the Bible, Jesus talked about a parable where he gave some people 5 things to sow, some people 2, some people 1. If I have given you 1, and you fail in one, why do you think I will give you 5 to succeed in 5? The 5 states that they have and this is not just limited to the Southeast.
Mr.
The 5 states you
Joshua,
have in the Southeast.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Joshua, in one breath, you are saying it is justified for the Southeast to have an additional state, looking at the fact
And at
that
the
they are
same
short
time,
of one state. And then in another breath, you're saying the 5 states they have,
it is not a yardstick.
they are not, okay, it's not a yardstick for them to demand
It's not a
for
yardstick
another.
for development stride. You know what I'm saying? It's not a yardstick.
But
because even the states even the regions that have 5 states, that have 6 states or 7 states, what do they have to show for it? Do you understand?
here's the thing. You talked about politics. You talked about politics being in the mix of all of these. And then when we look at politics keenly, politics is a game of number. Now, if you go to other regions, you discover that when it is electioneering, the chunk of number you get is something you cannot compare to other regions. For example, if you go to Northwest, you discover that the chunk of number you get from Northwest during elections cannot be compared to, say, the Southeastern region. And then it begs the question, we need that balance to be politically positioned, right? So if you are looking at the politics of things, you would actually give it to them that, okay, these additional states should be created. Maybe not for the viability of the state, but to be politically positioned.
Okay, let's get something right. Okay, there is electioneering, there is representation. Electioneering leads to representation, but when it comes to numbers in elections, it's different from representation. I will explain. For example, even though you make 15 more states in the Southeast, from the figures we have right now in our population statistics, it is not to be compared with the numbers from the Southwest, from the Northwest or the Northeast. So you may say yes, in representation, we may have equitable numbers. Maybe in the House of in the red chambers, we may have the same numbers in the Southeast and in the South, in the Northwest. If we create more states in the Southeast, but it will not result to election figures when it comes to voting. I don't understand.
I get you. I'm here.
Yeah, so we may have equal representation, which is good. But when it comes to electioneering and voting,
we're not having equal number.
But okay. Yes. But we are not talking. I am not really talking about electioneering right now. I'm even talking about the representation. Those that have represented the South is so far, even the South that has 6 states, what have they shown for it? Those those regions that have the 6 and 7 states, what have they shown for it? We just have people who have faith in leadership, and right now they want an opportunity to cash out, and they are playing politics to create more states. I can tell you categorically clear that this is all a game for 2027 election. I can tell you. It has nothing to do with the benefits of a common man. It has nothing to do with how to improve the lives or increase our GDP. If you look at I watched the session in the House when they were giving the reasons why they want to create more states. With all due respect to those people, but it sounds so. Let me not use abusive words online, but it sounds so low. One of the reasons they gave is that it will create more political jobs, political opportunities. So from there, you can deduce and detect that it is all for their own personal interest.
But wouldn't
it is not for the common good?
But wouldn't it create that actually? Wouldn't it create more jobs? Because if you have a new state, you're definitely going to have a new governor for that state, and then you're going to have an administration like you get, and then you're going to have to recruit people to work as a governor.
At the expense of what? At the expense of what?
It's going to make you productive.
At the expense of at the expense of taxpayers' money. No, see.
I mean,
Like I said,
the
like I
president,
said, I'm
the
sorry, like I said,
president, all right. Go ahead, go ahead.
okay, like I said, to 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 do well in business or to do well in governance, you need to have a prototype. You need to try something and say, okay, it has worked. Then let me work this new one I want to invent or I want to try. Okay, the present system we have right now, that is 36 governors, 108 red chambers members, 300 and something green chambers, green members. Has it created more jobs for the over 200 million people we have? So if you're saying that we increase now to 67 governors, it means we'll have more than 500 or 600 House of Reps members. We'll have close to 280, 280 or 290 red chambers members. How will you sustain them? Will this new institution create more jobs for the general public, or it will create more jobs for the cronies and the stooges of this political vampires that will be in that position?
Perhaps we are also looking at how these states can be self-sufficient. If these states are self-sufficient, that may probably not be an issue.
See, I have been an advocate for leadership. I have studied a lot of courses in leadership. I think of myself as a consultant in leadership. Now, if I come to your organization and your board members tell me that, let's say, for example, your board members hired me as a consultant and they said they have a problem, all right, I should fix it. The first thing I will fix is to fire the leadership of that organization. The failure of every organization is the fault of the leadership. All right? See, we have countries in this world that have only 10 states, 15 states, some less than that, and are doing well. You can't tell me that the failure or the lack of jobs or the insecurity or the kidnapping or the banditry.
But are you also
the hunger,
but are you also looking at the heterogeneous nature of Nigeria? The fact that you have multiple tribes, you have multiple nations, you have multiple, and these people have been agitating. You go to states like Benue, where some tribes there will tell you that they have been marginalized, hence the need for them to have a state of their own. You go to other states, the same concerns being raised. So don't you see that when something like this come up, it's going to give some of these people a sense of belonging, and then maybe put to rest, right? Maybe put to rest some of the agitations we seem to be having.
See, we are saying the same thing. Like I said, the failure of society is a fault of leaders. The fact that we have people being marginalized, the fact that we have people being marginalized in this area that you call is the failure of leadership. Even if you give them a new state and you have failure in leadership, there are groups, there are organizations.
So what would you advise?
Groups that will come and say they are also being marginalized. So the problem we have is not a problem of lack of more states, it's a problem of leadership.
Yeah, but what would you have advised? What is
not solve the problem of leadership?
Yes, Mr. Enaps, what model would you have advised that the federal government or even those at the green or even red chambers, what model would you have advised that they advocate for instead of the creation of more states in order to give some tribes or some sections that sense of belonging apart from the creation of more states? What is your suggestion? What advice would you have given them?
Okay.
Bearing in mind that some people will tell you are marginalized, what do you think is the solution to that apart from the creation of more states?
Should I be sincere with you or should I play politics? Should I talk politics with you?
We are sincere here.
Should I be sincere with you?
Yes.
I am a populist by nature. It means I am a radical. I am also very, very pragmatic, and I also speak truth to power. Right now, the system that we have right now It's not fashion to stop marginalization. It is not fashion to stop corruption. It is not fashion to stop nepotism and all the other vices that we have still in Nigeria.
So what
We
advice?
don't have that system.
So what advice
The
would you?
advice is this.
Yes.
The advice is this. I don't know whether I can use your platform to say this. That's why I created the 50 million patriots. The advice is this, that we need a overhauling. Bro, sir, we've been in this game for more than 50 years now.
When you say a total overhauling, so most people will say you should be very, plain and specific. When you say total overhauling, yes.
Like I said,
I just need you to answer this, so we'll round off on this particular part, because I have like 2 or 3 questions to throw at you because we're pressing for time.
The first problem is that Nigerians are not being original. 2, we are copying, and when you're copying something, you can at best be second best. We have to identify our indigenous way of leadership. We need to identify who we were before the colonization, before the slave trade. I know it may sound a bit far-fetched, but until we go back to the drawing board, we've been operating this for more than 50 years. It's not working. We've been going backward. What we are suffering right now, our fathers suffered it, our grandfathers suffered it, and God forbid, our children will still suffer it, and we are making no headway. We need see, even though you bring a Gabriel right now to lead this country, the system will not work, because at best we are a copycat. We are not original. So we need an overhauling. We need indigenous people, indigenous patriotic citizens, to come up with a plan on how Nigeria will be governed.
But that is why we have the constitutional review. But that is why we have the constitutional review, isn't it? That is why we have the constitutional review.
Which is a product of a system that is not working, that has never worked.
And then the last I checked, the same indigenous people are the one coming up with this proposal. It's not as if the proposal is coming from foreigners.
See,
I just needed you, Mr. Enaps. I just needed you.
Let me land.
I just
1 minute.
Yes.
1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. Perhaps you don't know my antecedents.
No.
My group and myself.
What I'm saying is that I just needed you to throw a solution to the whole problem. Now, if you're saying,
I'm telling you, the solution is this.
Yes.
To go back to the drawing board.
The drawing board is not filled.
Yes, you talk about the constitutional review,
yes.
which are people that are product of a corrupt system that produced them. He who pays the piper dictates the truth. Most of those people there, we are sponsored, not by the people that they represent, but by different interests. There's something that I cannot say online, but I'm telling you that they are a product of a system that has not worked for 50 years. So why do you expect it to work now? It will not work.
Okay. Let's look at one area, Mr. Enaps. Like you said, it's not going to work except to have a total overhauling. Right. So let's look at the administrative cost of additional states in Nigeria, if at all this is going to, push through. And then we're also looking at the fact that the economy is currently not doing well. And then if at all this is going to push through, do you see some form of administrative cost attached to it? And how would that really, trickle down to the people? Yes. How would that trickle down to the people?
Okay. First of all, personally, I know that this bill will not fly. I know it's not fly. You quote me, it's not fly.
Why do you think it's not going to fly? Why do you think it's not going to fly?
We have had series of constitutional review since 1999. Even during the Buhari's era, there were House members who came with such bill. It's not
Exactly. So
during
why do you
Goodluck's
think this
era.
particular one, that might be different, isn't it? So why do you think this particular one will not fly?
Because
Bearing in mind that build up to the 2023 election, we had some presidential candidate who part of their campaign mantra was that the country needed restructuring. And then a lot of people bought into that. And then, this presidential candidate wrote on that particular mantra. And a lot of people believe that this is what the country needs. And then it's almost looking as if this particular administration is also tilting towards that direction of saying, hey, we need restructuring at this point in time. And then it's not as if this is the first time we're having. I took you back to 1996 where actually that was the last time we had the creation of additional 6 states when we had just 30 states. So why do you think this is not going to fly? Bearing in mind that a lot of people are saying this country needs to be restructured, which is part of the overhauling you're talking about.
Yes. Now from what you said most of the candidates campaign on this. So you now agree with me with what I first said, that there is politics involved. Now, check previous government or previous candidates who campaigned before now. You also notice that they flew on this same creation of more states, this same restructuring to get during Goodluck Jonathan's time life. During Buhari's time, they used it. During this present government, they used it. So why do you think that this same act is not still a means or a scheme that will be used for 2027 election? Now, like I told you, it will not fly. But you will see, when time for campaign comes, this same bill will be on a hot burner. But it will not sell.
You feel this is just you feel this is just a campaign bait against 2027.
Of course. Okay. Anyone who has said long in the game will know that this thing will not fly until 2027. Okay. Imagine now somebody like President Tinubu goes to somewhere like Kogi to campaign, and they say, it's true, people in Kogi West have been marginalized by Kogi North, or vice versa. But if you elect me for my second tenure, I will make sure you have your own state. Already, they have done a lot of PR to make sure that this is on the line. It's online. It's in everybody's ear. Of course, it will be a good sell for them. So it's all politicking. Go to anywhere, it's not sell.
It is all politicking. It's not going to sell. Want to say a big thank you for joining us, all right? Because we're pressing for time. We'll have loved to talk more and more and more. I can see that you're all fired up for this conversation. But then we're going to feature you in we're going to feature in one of our shows in a subsequent edition of the program Political Clinic. Thank you so much, Mr. Joshua, for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, viewer, I've been speaking with Mr. Enabs Joshua, who is the founder and convener of the 50 million patrons. And then there you heard from him, sharing his thought on the current proposal of 31 additional states in the country and the implications surrounding the creation of these states. All right, in a couple of days or even months, we're going to see how this particular bill is going to, or even this proposal rather, is going to pan out, because it has created a lot of debates in different quarters. My name has been Pius Kadon, and I'm urging you to join us on our next edition, which comes up on Monday, as we talk about another burning issue, and then we invite someone who would, put us in the know on that particular issue. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. All right? Join us. I remain Pius Kadon. Goodbye.